What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to another Premodern video. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be playing in the Magic Online Society League, and if you watch my latest playoffs video, you will know that I've been kind of interested in this archetype that you see right there. And this is Elves. This is a deck that is very, very strong. Some people consider this to be potentially the best deck in the format, and I am very intrigued by it. I think that the deck is super interesting. It looks extremely hard to play, which obviously is something that I find appealing and interesting, and it seems like a deck that is pretty rewarding once you do master it. So I've been having my eye on Elves for a while, but I never quite thought that I was going to be able to get my playset of Gaia's Cradle. You know, this deck plays a full playset of Gaia's Cradle. For good reason, this is far and away the best Cradle deck in the format, and this card is pretty busted. So because of that, I never kind of took it too seriously, or I never really had the intention of playing it, but it's looking more and more real that I'm going to be able to get my playset in paper, which makes me want to actually, you know, prepare, like try to learn the deck a little bit and start to get familiar with the ins and outs and how the deck plays out. So the very first experience that I had with the deck was kind of interesting. I had way too many mana issues, and that was because I was playing 17 lands. So today we're going to up the count up to 18 lands, and that means, of course, adding one basic forest. So the reason that we need basic forest is because one of the hands, for example, that I had during that event included one Gaia's Cradle and one basic mountain. And, you know, I had two lands in my opening hand, but like neither one of them actually allowed me to cast my spell. So that was obviously pretty problematic. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to add one extra basic force that should hopefully allow us to, you know, cast our Fate Hunter Upside on Elves, or even Quirion Ranger on turn 1 more reliably. And all of these cards will, of course, allow us to get a pretty significant boost in mana early in the game. We also have Wirewood Symbiote, which has a crazy amount of synergies going on with, you know, Multana Acolyte. Just bouncing this back to hand can be just an engine in and of itself. Same is true for Yavimaya Ranger. I actually did get to do that in one of my practice matches, and it was actually quite impressive. We also have Priest of Titania to have like a crazy burst of mana. We also have a couple of Wall of Roots, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but the big card here is going to be Survival of the Fittest. This is the deck's engine, and it is extremely powerful. Obviously, we combine it with Squee, but the real strength of Survival is that it allows us to find, you know, once we need to get our engine going, we can find our Symbiotes or Multanis, or if we need mana, we can go fire Prince of Titania. Another angle that this deck has, which is extremely powerful, is Anger. So by you having access to Survival, you can get your Anger, and then you can discard it to the Survival, and then you can use your Maya Granger to find your one of basic mountain, or you can, you know, fetch for it. And once all of your creatures actually have haste, things get really out of control very, very quickly. So you can play a priest and immediately tap it for a bunch of mana. Same is true with, you know, like your elves or symbiote. You know, you can just get a pretty significant burst of mana, and then you can close the game immediately, either with Deranged Hermit, which, by the way, is another guy that is very, very great to bounce back with symbiote, and you can just swing for a bunch of damage in the same turn, or you can use Kamal as a way to, you know, kind of go off. So you can like start overrunning a bunch, and then you can just destroy your opponent this way. You're going to see that there's a singleton Verdant Force in the main deck here. The reason for that is that we have Natural Order, and Natural Order is a great card in this deck because it kind of answers one of the deck's main problems, which is the fact that whenever you're playing against any red deck, be it goblins or be it something like Sly, your creatures have the really, really bad habit of dying. So because of that, because we have a bunch of 1/1s, then being able to just have a Natural Order that you can put into play a Verdant Force with can turn around the matchup just on its face. That is why, as I said a little bit earlier, we do have access to a couple of copies of Wall of Roots. This is a mana creature that actually allows us to, you know, it's a little bit harder to kill for damage-based decks. So that's definitely pretty strong, and I feel like this is kind of a little bit of a package going on here. And particularly, I like Wall of Roots better than Wall of Blossoms, and the reason for that is that, once again, we're playing a very low land count, so having access to Wall of Roots means that Wall can give you both the creature to sack and the mana that you need to cast Natural Order potentially as early as turn 3. So that makes Wall of Roots much more enticing to me than Wall of Blossoms. But I did consider, and it's something that I'm going to be thinking about again. Like this is my early iterations of the deck, and I'm just like messing around, seeing what works and what doesn't. And one of the things that I consider is adding some number of Wall of Blossoms or even some extra Wall of Roots to the sideboard for the red matchup. But I want to start here and see how things go, and then we can, I can make decisions and I can change cards as the time goes. I'm also playing a couple of singleton cards that we can find off of Survival. That is a Color of the Claw against sweepers, Masticore against creature decks, and well, just against decks that want to be killing my stuff. They probably cannot kill Masticore unless it is a white deck. And then Nantuko Vigilante as a way to find, as a way to fight against stuff like Engineered Plague or even, basically any non-humility artifact or enchantment. So that is the stuff that we got going on in the main deck, but, some decks are playing Tanglewire in the main. I always thought that was interesting. Like, obviously, the card is very good in Elves whenever you have 8 creatures that are just untapping your stuff. So, obviously, the card makes a lot of sense, can buy you a lot of time. But I always thought that it was interesting as a main deck card because it's kind of dead in a variety of matchups. So, I don't know. So I'm putting Tanglewire in the sideboard and I'm adding some extra bullets in the main deck. It could be that it's better for me to just figure out a way to, fit more wires in the main deck and just play the bullets in the sideboard. I don't know. I'm trying to find out and I'm trying to figure out the ins and outs of this deck at this point in time. The sideboard, we are finishing the playset of Natural Orders, and then we have a bunch of Naturalizes, and then, as I was saying earlier, Tangled Wires, and finally just a bunch of bullets. So we have Sharpshooter, Genesis, Elvis Champion, UW Orangutan, and Druid Lyrist. All of these are going to be bullets for Survival. Then we have a Singleton Phantom Nishoba. This one is going to be a bullet for Natural Order as well. And then with, of course, we have like we finish the playset of Natural Orders for the matchups where we really, really want this card. And that is kind of what made me think that maybe I want some extra enablers, so if I'm going to be finishing the playset and I'm going to try to turn into a Natural Order deck versus the red decks, then it stands to reason that I would want to just make sure that I have more enablers that don't just die to Lava Dart or literally just a breeze, So this is the deck we're going to be playing, so we'll see how things go. Very excited about trying this one out. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you for round number 1. All right, here we go. Round number 1. This looks pretty good, actually. So we're on the play, and we can go turn 1 Ranger into turn 2. Using the same forest, we can go play Priest of Titanium, which would add the most amount of mana, or if we're playing against any sort of more like removal-based deck, we can go for Wall of Roots instead. There's also the very nice side effect that Wall of Roots blocks stuff like Goblin Lackey and whatnot. Opponent moves to 6, and then they lead on an island. Okay, drawing a second land is pretty good, I think. I think now I'm just going to go for Priest, because if this resolves, we are just in very good shape. This may get dazed if we're playing against Mono Blue Dreadnought, but if this does, then that means that my opponent can Dreadnought me next turn. So my opponent took like almost like 30 seconds or something to make that decision, which I think means that they do have the daze, but they also have a turn 2 Dreadnought. So they were considering like what was, the problem of just making me have allowing me to have a Priest, right? Yeah, so I think that we're just going to see this Dreadnought coming into play. And now I know that my opponent has a daze. The thing is whether my opponent has a foil as well. That's a pretty damn good draw. So let's lead on Quirion Ranger, because this is going to give me a lot of mana. Survival was obviously a great draw there, so we're going to lead on Survival, because if we lead on Natural Order, that requires me to sack one of my creatures, which I don't want to do. There's the daze, which I'm obviously going to pay, and I expect a foil right now. Yep, there we go. So that just happens. Now, I don't expect my opponent to have anything else. So what I can do is I can just go for Quirion Ranger, bounce in a forest, and tap, play Priest, and then I can Natural Order for, I guess my best option is, I think my best option is to go for just a big guy, right? Unless, how much money can I make? Because if I can get Kama into the picture, that could be lethal. Because the problem is, if I go for Verdant Force, I swing for 2 here. My opponent goes to 17. Next turn, I take 12, and then I'm actually, you know, potentially I can get killed. So I think that I'm going to go for Kamal instead. So we untap, we play my land for turn. This is going to be 3 mana. I can play Granger, get a Mountain. Then I untap Priest again. That is going to be 4 more mana, which is going to allow me to go Wall of Roots into Natural Order. Yeah, that seems good. So let's play Granger here. I'm gonna say yes, get my Mountain, pay 2 to play Wall of Roots, untap Priest once again, and I think I just sack the Yavimaya Granger, and I'm just gonna get Kamal, and then next turn I'm gonna have 3 6 mana. That is 1 activation of Kamal, which is gonna be... I should have sacked the wall actually, because the wall doesn't attack. So if I get Kamal, I can swing for 7 plus 4 is 11. Yeah, that would be lethal. Yeah, so Kamal is lethal next turn. So that's why it's better to do this now. It also means that I can use this Wall of Roots to chump block if I need to. Oddly enough, Stifle will stop my Kamal activation, which is pretty funny. But maybe I think I can just activate twice. 3, yeah, I can definitely activate Kamal twice, which would be way more than lethal. Yep. All right, got there. That was cool. So we're gonna be playing against Dreadnought. So I like Uktabi. I like Tangle Wires. I definitely do not want Natural Orders, and I don't want Verdant Force. I do want Naturalizes. So this means I need to cut 5 cards. One of them is gonna be Color of the Claw. Another one is gonna be Masticore. I guess I can cut both walls because I'm not in a Natural Order plan. And then what? I could cut one of the Hermits. I do think Anger is probably very important, so I don't want to cut the Anger. I think I'm going to play a slower game, and I'm just... actually, Hermit allows me to go around the Dreadnoughts, which is something potentially relevant. So maybe I cut Kamal? It has so much value as a one-off, though. I don't think I'm cutting Anger, because Anger is the card that really allows me to race. Obviously, like, Tangle Wire also allows me to race, I guess, but... Oh, my opponent is playing mono blue, so they're not playing white, meaning that I don't need to play around... Yeah, I don't need to play around, what's his name? I don't need to play around Melee Mage, which means that I can probably just cut the Range Hermit. I think I like this hand. That's a lot of mana. Only 1 business spell of note. Notably 1 business spell in the Nantuko Vigilante, but this... Oh, that's a good draw. That is a hell of a good draw. Damn. Yeah, you'll love to see that. So next turn I can go Ranger, Wire, I think. That's a threat. Okay, so I think I want to... I don't think I want to play Tangled Wire just yet. So let's play Quirion Ranger number 2. So it's very likely that whatever I play will get counterspelled. Do I just pass the turn? I think I do want to play around, what's his name? What's the name of the card? Powder Keg. I do think I want to play around Powder Keg. So I'm going to hold on to this Quirion Ranger. Because what I can just do is I can just do nothing and just pass the turn back. So I don't think I want to play out the Quirion Ranger. This does represent some mana burst the next turn. No, actually, I think I'm going to play it out. Because it is much more mana for next turn. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm just going to pass the turn back now. The fact that whatever I can play there can get dazed means that I don't really want to do that. So now my opponent goes for the combo, which means that they tap out. And now I can Tangle Wire. Nice. So we play Wire first. This is going to buy me a lot of turns on my opponent foil. Oh, they are playing white. Okay, good. Again, it doesn't really matter. Float some mana, and tap Fyndhorn Elves, and tap my forest, replay my forest, play a Morph, and flip the Morph right now to play around Stifle. Kill that, and I think we win the game now. My opponent's down to 1 card. Jesus, this deck is ridiculous. This deck is outrageous. Wow! Woo! Alright. That was very impressive. That was very, very impressive. Obviously, I drew really well, right? Like, my draws were like Tangle Wire, Kamau. I guess Kamau is kind of a dead draw, but like, Wire were my 2 draws, which is pretty insane. So, like, you know, better lucky than good, they say. But that was very, very impressive. Here we go. We're playing against Will, and I don't know if this is a keep. I think it is. Like, the fact that we have multiple things that we can... multiple threats that my opponent needs to respect is kind of enticing. So we can start... like, we have a bunch of threats here, which is nice. And that's a very, very good draw, for obvious reasons. I think I'm playing out this Acolyte here. If my opponent wants to daze this, it's kind of whatever. And if they don't, that's also fine. I don't think I'm going to be paying for Echo. However, actually, now that I have a second one, maybe I will pay for Echo. So this could be Will being on Stasis, or he could be on Dreadnought. I guess we're going to find out soon enough. So just going to bounce here. That's fine. Interesting. Okay. So I think I'm just going to replay this Acolyte now. If my opponent wants to daze, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, we're just going to play another Acolyte. So this time around, we're actually going to start developing our mana. So I'm probably going to pay Echo for one of these. And then I'm going to just not pay for the other one. This way I can start developing my mana from Gaia's Cradle. He opts on end step. Black Vice. Got a clock now. We got a clock now. So that is fine. Pay for Echo. Play a land. And I think I'm playing this Wall of Roots here. And then I'm going to play this Survival. Play my land already, which isn't great. Will does daze here, though, which is fine. I'll pay for daze there. I think that he may just be setting up... oh, he's just double dazing here? Oh, counterspell too. Okay. So he's fighting over my mana, which makes sense. So we may see a Stasis coming up this turn. And the fact that I drew no mana creatures in all this time is kind of annoying. It's going to gush into Stasis. That would be pretty good. Oh, he just plays a Stasis. Okay. Plus Forsaken City. Just going to chain my Wirewood Symbiote. He can't do that because I just bounce his Stasis. So we're going to take 2 now. Land is good. Gonna play it out. Yeah, the fact that we just drew no 1-drop creature is kind of brutal. No Quirion Ranger, no Llanowar Elf, anything like that. So he pitches Impulse, actually developing his mana here, which is cool. I'm not gonna fetch because I kind of want to draw lands here. Oh, it's pretty good. So whatever I play, he's gonna counter. Maybe I should have just cast Survival earlier. I mean, it's not like I'm using this mana any other way, so I might as well play the Cradle just so I take 1 less damage. But now I'm just gonna pass the turn back here. And Will loves Stasis, huh? Chose not to pay. Very interesting. So he's definitely holding up Counterspell, right? Like, that is fairly obvious. So we have a couple of turns now to go. Ugh, that's not a good draw. So our best draw would be Quirion Ranger, probably. Quirion Ranger probably grants a Counterspell. A Null has been pitched. Alright. Playing out the land. Very interesting. Does he not have Gush? Maybe he just doesn't have a Gush to get going. Ooh, that's a good one. Alright. Fetch. Forest. He has to counter this. So this means that I just don't lose land drops anymore. So untap here, bounce here. Play my land. Now Cradle taps for 3. Yeah, so I'm just gonna play Survival here, which he has to counter. And then I can play a second Survival. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. So let's pitch this Masticore and get another Quirion Range. I'm just going to get a Llanowar Elf, actually. So if this one resolves, then his mana is going to get all tied up. Oh, I should have attacked with the Acolyte. That was bad. Missed 2 points. Missed out on 2 points. So he Chain of Vapors his own Stasis, which is fine. Sucks a land to bounce one of my things. Bouncing Ranger. I already used the Ranger, so I guess that's fine. Not gonna sack a land, thank you. If he has a second Chain of Vapor, he can bounce the Llanowar Elf now. And that is actually kind of problematic, because now the Black Vice just raises me. So I do think that now I do actually bounce the Black Vice. So sack that, we're gonna bounce the Black Vice. So this is effectively 1 turn where he cannot pay for Stasis. So his hand right now is Chain of Vapor, Stasis. Sorry, not Chain of Vapor, Black Vice Stasis. I'm very surprised that he sacked a land here to copy. Like, I don't think this makes any sense. Why would he sack a land there? Bouncing Survival? Sure. So I just now go to discard. This is fine. I mean, I don't think that matters, right? So his hand is Stasis plus what's his name, right? So he's banking on me not finding a green source, because if I do, I can just kind of unload my hand. So if I find, I mean, base case scenario would be another Gaia's Cradle, but so now, like, if I find a forest, he loses, right? So I take 3, any land, and we win. We did not find a land, but we're gonna have one more turn, I think. Oh, actually, no, that was the only turn. Yeah, because now we're just not gonna have enough. Yeah, we're just not gonna have enough now. Yeah, so he basically went all in that turn. He went all in, and he really wanted to. Oh wow, he actually drew the Thwart, which was the best card he could have drawn. That's awesome. Okay, so now he found the Gush, so now we just lose. Okay, cool. Game number 2. So I think the Naturalists are gonna be coming in. Natural Order out. Don't want that. Don't want Verdant Force. Uktabi seems okay. Druid Lyris seems great. Wall of Root seems pretty good, actually. Color of the Claw doesn't do anything. Probably don't need Kamal. And I want all of my mana creatures. So I guess I cut it an Acolyte. I don't think I care about Genesis. I don't think I care about anything else. I don't think Tangled Wire is going to be doing what I want it to do. So I understand that this is supposed to be a very good matchup for me. But, you know, that assumes that I know what I'm doing, right? Which I definitely do not. So there's that. This hand looks decent, though. We're going to get access to a bunch of mana, which is nice. And we have Korean Ranger, which I suspect is, if not the straight-up best card in the... Oof, that's a good one. I think I'm going to go for a Ranger, and I think I'm just going to slam a Priest here. He can daze, but if he dazes, then that time walks him, so that's fine. So now we have access to a pretty large amount of mana. That's fine. So we're just going to swing, I think, with everything. If my opponent bounces the Ranger, I just untap Priest in response. Impulse, that's cool. So we're just gonna start swinging for 3 a turn. That's the game plan here. 3 a turn is what's up. We could find ourselves in a situation where my opponent can Hibernation, and that can blow me out. But here's 3 more. So untap Priest, bounce Forest, replay Forest. I think we play Survival here. What if I play another Queen Ranger? I think that's good. That's probably counter-worthy, actually. Pass the turn back. So the reason to play Korean Ranger there is because it takes a turn off the clock. Because this is now a 4-turn clock as opposed to a 5-turn clock that I had last turn before playing the Korean Ranger. So I think playing out the Ranger is right. Our hand looks pretty decent though. Nice. So let's swing and float a mana and tap Priest, replay Forest, and I think I'm gonna play this Nantuko Vigilante, morphed. Okay, well here's a Survival. It's kind of nice that the morph creature plays around Hibernation very nicely. Survival result, okay. What do you got, Will? What do you got? Brain Freeze? Is that his game plan? If he has double Brain Freeze on a Gush and stuff like that, he may kill me, but a single Brain Freeze doesn't do it. This was 2 spells. Yeah, I think he may just have Brain Freeze. Gush, that's fine. Is this gonna be his Brain Freeze turn? Boomerang, my dude. I think I pitch Vigilante, so I think I'm going to just do some stuff here. So, pitch Vigilante. I have double Naturalizing hand, right? Here's Squee, here's Anger, pitch Anger, and what do we do here? Could get Wall, could get Second Priest, can get another Korean Ranger. So I kind of want something that's lethal, so maybe I just want the Range Hermit. Is Masticore lethal too? No, Masticore is not lethal. The Range Hermit is very lethal though. Do I go all in, is the question. Can also go for Acolyte. Acolyte seems nice actually. Yeah, let's go for Acolyte here. He's going to discard. So the nice thing about Acolyte here is that it develops my board and it kind of draws me into more action. Doesn't kill my opponent, doesn't give me lethal, but it gives me more. So let's lead with Acolyte. See what's up. Another Acolyte. So this is 8 damage total. Seems fine. Llanowar Elf. Yeah, this seems fine. So let's swing with this and just pass the turn back. Oh, it just concedes. Okay, cool. I was trying to think, okay, if he hibernations here, I'm gonna have to discard a bunch, but then I just untap and all my mana is untapped, so it's kind of just fine, even if he lands a stasis. Okay, so what else now? Oh, Masticore's terrible. Why do I have Masticore in my deck? I just realized that. I'm like, oh, that card sucks. So I guess Acolyte comes back in. Oh, Champion. Champion is actually a fine one-off. Like, this is a counterable threat for 3 mana. I think probably the one-off Elves Champion is better than Multinis Acolyte, right? It's gotta be. Maybe the Range Hermit is just unnecessary. Man, like, not knowing the ins and outs of the matchup is kind of rough. Yeah, okay, keep this. We definitely need to find a second land, but if we do, then we're gonna be in extremely good shape. Forsaken City means no days. That's good for me. That is very, very good for me. Unless he's saving his island for foil, which would surprise me very much. Turn 1 Forsaken City. You don't see that every time. You don't see that every day. So here, everything we play is going to be a 2-for-1, which is nice. I'm going to play Crayon Ranger. Okay. Untap, bounce, replay. Yeah, I'm just going to play Priest. So if he counters this, that is a clean 2-for-1 for me, which is nice. I'm going to leave the Fiendhorn Elves untapped. I don't think the 1 point of damage is going to swing everything, and this is better against one of my opponent's untap effects. We do have a pretty sizable amount of gas here for having only the 1 land. Oh, Enlightened Tutor. Well, I was not expecting that. Ivory Tower. Okay, we can raise that or just like straight up destroy it, so I'm not worried whatsoever about that. He also 2-for-1 himself to do that, which seems not great. Or very good for me, however you want to look at it. Yeah, we're probably in extremely good shape here. So this is 3 mana. I can go Granger, untap. Yeah, this game's gotta be super over, right? Granger, say yes, go get a mountain, untap Priest, replay my forest. Now this stops for 4. Gonna play Survival. He annuls, which is fine, because now I Uktavi and I just blow that up. So this is a clean 3-for-1 right here. How exciting is that? Just straight up 3-for-1. Honestly, now that I think about it, it's kind of interesting as to whether I was supposed to just find another forest with the Yavimaya Ranger, particularly after the Survival had been countered. I guess I have like a gazillion mana, so I'm gonna pay for this Echo here. Untap, bounce, replay, deranged Hermit, impulses and response. Okay, Hermit resolves, move to combat. Here's 5. So he can Chain of Vapor, Priest. It's gonna need more than that though. With only 3 cards in hand, now 4. And even if he stasis, I have like multiple naturalizes to fight over it. So I think at that point it was just kind of locked. Alright, deck's good. Just no comments, just deck's good. And the stasis matchup is just as good as advertised. Okay, round number 3, and this is the kind of hand that I just don't know if I'm supposed to keep. So we have mana, right? We have 1 Multinis Acolyte, which is kind of a redraw, but then, you know, we have this Nantuko Vigilante, which just doesn't really do anything. I guess I'm going to keep this hand for science, but, you know, some experienced Elves players may probably just say, oh yeah, you always mulligan that hand is terrible. And maybe, I mean, for sure they're right, you know. Actually, I have no idea what I'm doing here. But yeah, so my opponent goes with Flooded Strand, so they can be on maybe Dreadnought, maybe Landstill. Those would be my first 2 guesses. Basic Plains strongly suggests Landstill. I think I'm gonna play a fetch land because I just kind of want to get the lands out of my deck, and usually that doesn't really matter, but there's I mean it doesn't really matter. It's not really objectively, so like it's negligible is what I'm saying. But under these circumstances, first of all, I have a way to find my mountain, and also I don't think that my life total is going to matter in this matchup whatsoever. So because of those reasons, I think that it's probably better to just go for that. And here I'm just going to play out the Multinis Acolyte, see what I draw. Wall of Roots, which is not great. I could bounce a land to like rebuy my Llanowar Elf, but I don't think I'm interested in doing that. And there's no need to expose this Cradle just yet. Oh, Ancient Tube. This is Replenish. Oh. They have a wave? Sure. I do think I'm paying for this Echo here. If my opponent wants to remove that, then that's fine. Yeah, just play a land. And I'm playing the mountain. I mean, what is going to fetch the mountain? Because I expect to just get, just play Gaia's Cradle next turn. So now that fades. If my opponent has Opalescence, that's gonna be a big problem. Yep. So now the wave can just exile itself. And now things are gonna get very ugly for me. So now, trying to think if there's anything I can do. Don't think that there is. So the way what my opponent is doing is they're targeting my creature and then they're holding priority and then targeting the Parallax Wave itself, so that it can just replay itself. So what I need to do here is I need to make it to having enough mana so that I can play Vigilante and flip it in the same turn, so that I can destroy the Opalescence. And this costs no mana for my opponent, so there's no reason at all for me to play the Wall of Roots. And obviously if my opponent plays a second Opalescence, then once again the game is just over. Opponent missed 4 damage last turn, which they could have done. They have a lot of mana over there. Attunement. Another wave. Yeah, I'm probably okay to just pick this one up. Let's move on to the next game. So, Tangle Wire is just so awkward though. I don't think Natural Order matters at all. So this Verdant Force is gonna go. Like, my opponent's gonna have Source of Plushes and stuff like that. So I definitely need to just overwhelm what they're doing. Like this. One single threat is not going to be enough. Do I care about Tangle Wire is the big question. I do think that we probably want Druid Lyrist, and we definitely want the Naturalizes. The question is whether these Tangle Wires do anything. I'm gonna cut the color of the claw, and I guess maybe a couple of walls. Maybe have a one-off fun-off Tangle Wire. Alternatively, I could have Elvis Champion as a way to close the game a little bit faster. If I knew that my opponent was playing Lanny's version with Mox Diamond, maybe I would bring in Uktabi over Elvis Champion, but like, I think this is fine. Maybe the Tangle Wires are just fine. It's just so bad into Frantic Search, right? Like the fact that, my opponent can float the mana, tap all of their permanents, and then they effectively circumvent the Tangle Wire for the same reason that stuff like, Winter Orb is good, but something like, this, like Tangle Wire or Opposition, it's not necessarily great. We also don't have any Graveyard Hate in our sideboard. I think I'm gonna go with this. Masticore is sterile, by the way. Like, I wish I had anything else. But like, Masticore at least pitches to survival. Oh yes, I love this kind of hand. It keeps me humble, I think I'm... Am I keeping this one? I guess I am gonna keep this one. I think I'm just gonna bottom the Anger. If I need it, I can just go find it. This may be just... Maybe I should be mulliganing to 5. But, I mean, I just can't think that a mull to 5 is gonna be much better than this. No Source of Pleasures is big. So now I can go play Elf. So play Cradle. We're gonna play an Elf. I'm trying to think if I want to double Acolyte. Because I can just double Acolyte, but that, I mean, just playing out the Fyndhorn Elf just adds so much more mana, though. So, I think we'll just play 1 Acolyte here. Let's see what we draw. Another Elf. Perfect. Alright, so now we got mana. So we have a pretty large amount of mana here. The question is, what are we going to do with it? Opponent places Seal of Cleansing. Okay, so I'm going to pay for Echo, and there's a Naturalize there. So let's play Acolyte, play Priest, or play second Acolyte. I'm not going to attack with these two, because I may need to Naturalize this. I think I'm just going to play a Priest here, and just swing for 2. But if my opponent plays... Oh, I guess they can't actually play Parallax Enchantment here, huh? I mean, we can do some fun stuff here, if we find the survival off the top. Maybe I should have swung for 2. We'll see soon enough. Alright, opponent ships a turn back. I'm not going to Naturalize here because I just don't really have to. So let's pay for that Echo. It's not great. Well, let's add a bunch of mana, and I guess I'm going to play this Acolyte here. And I really want to find survival here off the top. Queer on Ranger, I guess it's okay. And now, just gonna swing with everything. And I'm going to untap Priest. Replay my Forest. This is so that I can... If my opponent attempts to play a Parallax Wave. I'm gonna destroy the Seal of Cleansing in response, I think. So I missed 2 points of damage last turn. Intuition. Intuition for Replenish. Okay. Interesting. City of Traders. Okay, that he has opponent has Careful Study, I guess. Or Frantic Search. Frantic Search will also do it. Yeah, so both of these games had the exact same problem, right? Which is I just did not have anything going on, right? Like I just did not have an engine. I had a lot of mana and simply nothing to do with it. So that obviously ended up spelling my demise. So opponent's exiling my things. And now what I'm gonna do is I destroy... Oh, my opponent messed it up here. Now they don't have a second Parallax Wave. So the wave can't exile itself. Yeah. So they messed it up, but they fixed it by destroying their own seal. They also destroyed the wrong things. To be fair, we did have the naturalize, so... My opponent says that they misclicked, but I mean, I did kind of have the answer, right? My opponent would have needed to basically next level me and say, okay, like I think that you have naturalize in hand, so I'm just gonna like exile all of these one by one. So that they can do it, you know, they can do multiple triggers on the stack. So pay for pay for the Tiny Satellite Echo, and we still can't find anything. Ugh. All right, swing for 3. And I can't play out these Fiendhorn Elves because I need to make sure that if I find survival, I have a way to get the engine rolling. What I could have done there is I could have swung for 1 more by untapping the Priest of Titania. Not sure that matters. I guess it would have mattered. Oh yeah, actually it would have mattered. So what I should have done is actually play out the Fiendhorn Elves. Yeah, I should have played out the Fiendhorn Elves, and then I could have untapped Priest to swing for 4 this turn, and then to swing for 6 the following turn. So yeah, big time I messed that up. Big time I messed that up. Parallax Tithe. Take 1 land. Sure. Take the other land. Take another land. Actually, I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna naturalize the Opalescence on end step, I think. Like, I don't think mana is gonna be the main concern, but getting in there is probably gonna matter. Untap. Yep, I missed lethal. So let's swing with everybody. Get in there with everyone. Play Elf. Untap. Play another Elf. Pass the turn back. Yeah, that missed damage is going to be huge. All right, we got there anyway. Now I'm on the draw. This Masticore's terrible. I think I'd rather have Tanglewire, I guess. I don't think I care about all the other cards. I mean, I guess Tanglewire forces my opponent to have the Frantic Search, which is potentially not the absolute worst. I don't know, yeah. I don't like the Tanglewire. I'm just gonna have the 1 copy. What now? Okay. I think we can probably keep this. So we're gonna have some stuff going on now. Oh no. All of the survivals that I did not see in all of the previous games. They're all here. Turns out that they were all here all along. Okay. I think I'm gonna play out a survival here. Actually, I guess because I have a mountain here, it's better for me to play this, because I can tap this mountain for Coalesce to cast a survival, but I cannot tap the mountain to cast the Llanowar Elf. So that means that next turn I'm going to have potentially 4 mana. I mean, I can survival plus double activation. Drawing a land would not be super terrible. I guess my best draw would be, what, Quirion Ranger? Oh, missed land drop. That's huge. That's also a pretty good draw. Okay, so here's a survival. Pain Denial? Hell yeah. Perfect. Here's another survival. The only problem is my opponent also gets to draw a card. So that's bad for me. So they get to draw a card and I get to draw 2. But I'm going to have some hasty... Okay, so I'm going to be able to do some stuff next turn. We definitely are going to be able to do some things next turn. So, buckle up. City of Traders. Okay. And what? Frantic Search. Alright, I'm terrified. I am terrified right now. Attunement, Source of Plowshares were discarded. That's good for me. Opponent taps for mana and Parallax Wave. No, another Frantic Search. Okay. I do wonder what they discard, what they have in hand if they discarded Source of Plowshares there, you know? Like, Source of Plowshares is a very good card in this scenario that we find ourselves in. Let's see if we're going to have a Parallax Wave here. Okay, so they do have Parallax Wave, which is kind of annoying. So that gets rid of the elf. So what can I do? Oh, I can just top deck and naturalize, sure. Sure. So what are we doing here? So I naturalize, I get back my creature. And now then I play another elf, and that is going to unlock my mana. So let's naturalize the wave. My dude comes back. I guess I have to use my mana. Yeah, that's awkward. But I guess it's necessary. So we're gonna pitch Acolyte to go get Anger. Then we're gonna have to tap our Gaia's Cradle. And now we can go get Quirion Ranger. So pay 1, play Ranger. Pay 1 to untap here. And I guess that we're going to just play another Fyndhorn Elves. Okay, so they kill my Ranger in response. That seems fine. Okay, I'll pass the turn then. This gives me Priest of Titania. It gives me an activation to pitch the priest to go find Anger. Squee. Have another Opalescence. That one is fine. Oh, that's hilarious. Ha! All right, that is so funny. That actually buffs my Cradle. That is very, very funny. Okay, so now is when things get interesting. So pay green to pitch Squee to Survival. This gets me Symbiote. Play Symbiote. I can now bounce one of these elves. So I can tap Cradle for 4. Float a mana. Tap Cradle for 4 mana. We have 5. Use one of that mana to Symbiote the elf. And untap the other one. So untap here, bounce here. Then we pitch. No! I misclicked. Oh my god. I wanted to like pitch this elf to Survival. I misclicked. Oh! I would be attacking with a lot of dudes here. That sucks. That sucks, and there's nothing I can do to fix that. I guess I can play out a second Survival. No. Oh my god, that was so bad. Oh, that was terrible. That was a very bad misclick. Okay, so now I need to dodge Parallax Wave. Oh, they just don't have it. Okay, so untap this, bounce this, activate pitch in Fyndhorn Elves. And this is just gonna get a priest, I guess. Priest of Titania should give me a healthy amount of mana here. Play Fyndhorn Elves. Okay, so let's do some stuff. Play an elf, play a priest, pitch, activate Survival, pitch Squee. This has to be lethal, right? So we get Kamal, we have 5 mana assist, we play Kamal. Oh, I can just play Deranged Hermit twice. That should give me enough. So this is 3, 4, and tap Priest, bounce Fyndhorn Elves. Okay, opponent FOFs in response. So yeah. So the play there was to untap Priest, and that was going to allow me to play to cast the Deranged Hermit, make a bunch of mana with Gaia's Cradle, then pitch the Fyndhorn Elves to find another Wirewood Symbiote. Second Wirewood Symbiote bounces the Deranged Hermit to untap the Priest again, and just make way too much power. Awesome. Well, that was fun. We got very lucky for sure. We got very, very lucky. But yeah, I cannot expect that this matchup is good for Elves. Like, I definitely felt behind the entire thing. But Elves can do some silly stuff, so that's cool. All right, see you next round. Round number 4, here we go. We have some mana Elves. We have a lot of mana. I'm gonna keep this hand, but I think this is the kind of hand that I'm supposed to mulligan. I'm honestly not sure, but we have a pretty significant amount of mana. We also have a red source, which is nice. So next turn we can go Basic Swamp. Ha! Well, got him. Basic Swamp into Duress. So I think I'm just gonna go Elf into Acolyte here. Because I definitely want to make sure that I can draw a card, because if my opponent has Therapy... Okay, that's very good. That is very, very good. Yeah, okay, we're cooking now. Okay, so this is gonna be DeedGuy. Okay, so I think here I'm just gonna pay for Echo with both of these Fyndhorn Elves. I actually drew the anger, that's hilarious. Play a symbiote. So let's go ahead, let's get in there for 2. And now I think we're just gonna untap and bounce. My opponent can now plow the symbiote, which is fine. We're going to replay the Acolyte. See what we see over here. Another land. I think I'm gonna play the Wooded Foothills and I'm just gonna hold on to this Quirion Ranger here. I'm not gonna play it out because I want to make sure that if I find survival, I can start the engine. Yeah, so this is just DeedGuy Ale. Untap, make some mana. Can I find survival? No. Find Squee. I mean, Squee is infinite chump blockers for what it's worth, but I'm not gonna play it out. Gonna play a land, we're gonna play a Quirion Ranger and just pass the turn. So if my opponent doesn't have their land drop, they actually can't attack, which is nice. Okay, so they do. Wait, what? Windswept Heath? Uh-oh. That's cool. So this is like the Pernicious Deed version of DeedGuy. Yeah, just flipping the Angel, sending the turn back. Okay, so gonna fetch here. There's an argument for not fetching so that I can protect the mountain from Vindicate. But I think that's fine because I really want to find survival here. Wall of Roots, probably not quite good enough, huh? I'm still gonna play it out because more mana equals more better. But it is possible that my opponent is indeed playing the Pernicious Deed version of DeedGuy Ale, and then that's obviously gonna be pretty bad for me. That looks very, very much like a Pernicious Deed. Alright, cool. I mean, we can still win here, honestly. Like, as ridiculous as this may sound, we can still win here. We find the survival of the fittest. Yeah, with my Egg Ranger. So I can swing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think that seems particularly worth it. Because my opponent's going to pop the Deed, I think it's probably worth for me to play the Granger. So it locks up maybe potentially 1 more mana. And it gives me 1 more mana for next turn. But yeah, I think the only realistic way for me to win here is to top deck survival, specifically this turn. So opponent does pop the Deed. And everything dies, which is fine. I don't think I'm paying Echo on this Granger. Because I need to make sure that I can start doing some impressive stuff this turn that's coming up. And I need to top deck specifically Survival of the Fittest. Ugh, second Deed is pretty brutal actually. It really limits what I can do. So we're not gonna pay Echo and Survival 1 time. Finhorn Elves. Yeah, okay. We're playing against DeedGuy Ale. So this Natural Order package probably gonna be pretty decent. I do like Genesis. I don't actually care too much about Phantom Nishova, oddly enough. Do like Elvis Champion. Actually, I don't like Elvis Champion, never mind. Tangled Wire is interesting. I don't think I care for the card, actually. Color of the Claw seems good. Wall of Roots plus Acolyte seems good. Druid Lyrist, I'm definitely expecting some amount of Engineer Plagues. So we have Nantuko Vigilante, we have Druid Lyrist. I think that's it. Maybe I don't need that many Naturalizes. 2 Naturalizes is fine. I want to cut 1 Finhorn Elves, 1 Llanowar Elf, maybe 1 Priest. So I'm going to depend more on Wall of Roots. I do like Multanus Acolyte plus Symbiote. I think that's going to be a powerful engine. I cut Anger previously, and I was when I played against the Rock in a different event, and I was very punished by it. So I don't think I want to cut Anger. Definitely don't want to cut Squee. Definitely don't want to cut Genesis. I think Kamal I don't care too much for. It's something I can natural order for, but I think I'm gonna try to go for Verdant Force or the Range Hermit every time. Kamal is a way to end the game, but I don't think I need it. Also, it's pretty bad in the face of Pernicious Deed. 2 more cuts. It's gonna be what? Masticore is kind of medium. Masticore seems pretty medium, but it is a way to kill like a Withered Wretch or something. Let's cut 1 Multanus Acolyte. And I'm gonna cut 1 Quirion Ranger. We're definitely going low. We're going low on 1-drops, but I think that's fine. It's a way to circumvent. This hand looks okay. It's a fine way to circumvent Engineered Plague. Opponent moves to 6. So turn 1 Llanowar Elf. Let's see what my opponent does over there. Basic Plains. Another forest is not great. Let's play a Symbiote. And it's important to play the Symbiote first because this means that my opponent needs to use a Source of Plowshares on the Symbiote. They can't plow the Priest, Enlightened Tutor. Kind of pretty happy to see that, actually. So they mull to 6, and they also like time walk themselves there. So I'm gonna have a bunch of mana this coming turn, and then following turn I can just make sure that I rescue both of my elves. Oh, come on, man. Ugh, that's brutal. I'm not gonna be playing out this squee. It's just not happening. Okay, so I'm gonna untap here, rescue the Llanowar Elf, and then I'm just saying to my opponent, okay, do you want to play a Plague? That's fine. You're gonna have to probably name Insect. So they do cast the Plague, and let's see what they do. I mean, they probably still need to name Elf anyway, right? But they can name Insect now if they wanted to. But now I still have, you know, if I draw Survive, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess we're doing that. Swing for 1. And I don't think my opponent has Swords to Plowshares, because they would have probably used it. So I think I'm gonna get Verdant Force. Alternatively, I could get the other guy, the Deranged Hermit, but I think Force has a much higher upside, because they probably only have Swords to Plowshares, and I guess Vindicate, potentially. Plague Spitter. You got it, champ. Don't understand why my opponent paid like that, but I'll take it. So we're gonna swing for 7 here, so that's fine. Okay, so that's gonna kill my Saprolings, and it's gonna save them 7 points of damage, but now I get to deploy my Werewood Symbiote. The question now is, do I want to also play out this squee? I think I do, actually, just as a random 1/1, because, like, obviously my opponent's not gonna Swords to Plowshares the squee, but it actually does add to my clock, and I don't know how many creatures my opponent's actually playing. Like, I doubt they're playing that many. Okay, so they're paying CD and holding up the White Source. And I guess here this is fine. I'm just gonna swing with everything now. Should have also swung with everything last turn too. Chromatic Sphere. Okay, untap. Another Verdant Force. Let's see what we draw. Gaia's Cradle. Sure. It's a lot of mana. Okay, so everything swings. My opponent has to block the Verdant Force. They take 3. Kill a bunch of my dudes. And I don't think I play out the Cradle. There's just no need to. And if they have Gerard's Verdict or something, I can discard it. So now this Verdant Force is lethal, so my opponent needs to find an answer to it this turn. They're not gonna be able to just like continue to chomp their way into it. Like, imagine like this, my opponent's draw was turn 3 Plague into turn 4 Plague Spitter, turn 5 Plague Spitter, and we're still in this game. Like, that is the power of Natural Order and how insane it is in the Elves shell. Like, it's very impressive right here. So now Squee comes back, continue drawing blanks. That's fine though. So they have a forced chomp on the Verdant Force. Otherwise they just die. And we're gonna play our Squee. Here's another land. So you go. This game plan is looking very, very impressive. And this is kind of what it does, right? Like, Natural Order kind of really helps fix the bad matchups. Like, imagine how this matchup would have gone, my opponent going Plague into double Plague Spitter. Like, I would have needed to have a very strong opener in order to beat this. And I didn't need to, I just needed to draw one of my Natural Orders. That's all I needed to do. And then everything just fell into place from there. So we're gonna fetch just to get that out of the way. I don't really think it matters too much. It might as well. And we have more creatures that die immediately, but that is fine because I don't think it matters too much. So now they go down to 2 and they have a fairly painful mana situation going on over there. So there's gonna be something very special that they're gonna need to have to beat this. Alright, opponent just packs it in. For a second, I thought that my opponent was just going to tap Caves of Kolos and like City of Brass for mana and just go on their own terms, but... Okay, so... My opponent has a lot of hate against what I have going on, so... Is there anything that I want to change? Maybe Elves Champion is actually worth it as a way to play around Plague Spitter. It doesn't play around Spitter plus Plague though, so I guess it's probably not good enough. I do think this setup is somewhat reasonable. Masticore is the only card that I'm a little bit iffy on. The problem is I don't think I care about other cards. Maybe Kamal? Just as a way to like get something else powerful. So maybe that's just better because Kamal just makes my Natural Orders a little bit better. Masticore is Masticore though. Like Masticore is just kind of sick against my opponent's game plan of Pernicious Deed. It is definitely, it matters a lot that it's not a card that I can natural order for though. Maybe I just cut the Granger? No, there's no way. I guess I can just cut another Acolyte for the Kamau. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, what do we got here? Yeah, this looks reasonable. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. So we have natural order once again. This time we also have Yamimaya Granger. Am I even playing out a Korean Ranger? I don't think I am. I think I'm just gonna play a land and say go. I don't think playing out the Korean Ranger achieves anything for me. Yep, because they have a Light Intruder. So I can wait. I can delay that decision a little bit. So they have Deed. Okay. Going for Deed instead of the other thing is interesting. This is Gerard's Verdict. That's pretty good. Oh, that's really good actually. Okay, so I'm gonna pitch Korean Ranger and the Yamimaya Granger, I think. So I'm just gonna play a slower game. So let's see what we find here off the top. Survival. Yeah, I'll play that. By playing out Survival, I'm forcing my opponent to just kind of do something about it. So now, even if my opponent spends this turn playing out the Pernicious Deed, it just doesn't really do that much. Because I'm gonna get like a pretty decent amount of value from this Survival. Gerard's Verdict is pretty good, however. Okay, you got me. I think I'm pitching Natural Order and the Basic Forest. Opponent gets to gain 3 there. So by doing that, I guarantee that I have access to a green card, a card to pitch. So now we can pitch Masticore. So I can go land, survival, pitch, Masticore, get anger. Oh no, but now I'm not gonna have access to the red source. Ugh. Oh, I just get the Wall of Roots here. Yeah, so I just get the Wall of Roots, play my land, fetch for a basic mountain. So play Wall of Roots. Wall of Roots has looked so impressive in this deck. And now I'm going to activate Survival, pitching Llanowar Elf to get Squee. And now we ship the turn back. And now we're gonna be able to start to accrue some card advantage. Big shout out to Wall of Roots. Has been consistently really impressive. Opponent just doesn't deploy the Deed? That's kind of insane. Okay. So I think we're just gonna get... what can we do? We can get Color of the Claw, we can get Anger. I feel like I want to get something I can cast. In case my opponent has one of my opponent's unknown card. Like, our opponent's one unknown card is something like a Naturalize. So I think that means that I want to find something that I can actually cast. Maybe just get Multani's Acolyte. Could get Priest. That way I play Priest. Alternatively, I could get Genesis, but that I don't get to trigger Genesis this turn. I'm just gonna get Priest, just to force the action. So now Squee comes back. Multani's Acolyte. Okay. So first thing we do is Survival, pitch, Squee. Now we get Anger. Anger. Oh, sorry. We're going to activate pitching Anger. Now we get Quirion Ranger. Yeah, so we get Quirion Ranger, make a mana, 2 mana, play Priest, tap Priest to play Quirion Ranger, untap Priest by bouncing a land, play my land, and here I can pitch this Acolyte to get Symbiote, and Symbiote allows me to protect my dudes. Yeah, I think so. So Survival, pitch Multani. Oh, I can just get Genesis. So we're gonna get Genesis, then pitch Genesis, and get Symbiote, and now play Symbiote. And we get to swing for 2, for good measure. That was fun. That was pretty cool. And now I guess I can untap Priest, bouncing Ranger, to protect it from a Deed or from something else. Opponent cycles Sphere for white, which is very interesting, and they do nothing. Okay, so my opponent is gonna have to... I'm gonna have to do something real quick here. They have to pitch, they have to play this Deed and just crack it immediately. So we get to float a mana and then tap this. So do I want one more Survival activation? Like, what am I gonna go get now? Probably get another Symbiote, because we already have an Acolyte. Oh, we're gonna have a Symbiote in the graveyard, but we can just get back Acolyte with it. So maybe I can pitch Ranger to find Symbiote. The thing is, like, Ranger allows me to just go off with mana with the Priest. So I don't think we activate here. I think the best 2 cards that we can get, we already have in hand. So that's fine. So that's it for opponent. They're out of mana. And we're going to Genesis, target nothing, I guess. Squee comes back, and I'm going to say no to Genesis. Second Ranger is nice. So I want to play around Engineered Plague here. So I think I need to just play out the Priest, but I'm not going to play out the Korean Ranger. I definitely need to... I guess that my opponent is going to be playing out their thing anyway. If they have Engineered Plague, they're going to play it regardless. So maybe this was just kind of unnecessary. I would definitely like to find some lands here. Okay, so my opponent does nothing, which is very good for me. So now we're going to start to do some Genesising. Like, if they have a way to answer this Priest, they have to do it now. That's a lot of mana. I'm scared. I'm really scared. They're tapped out. Scrying for 4. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so this is going to be the turn where things go kind of nutty, I hope, at least. We can get back Symbiote here, or we can get back Masticore. Can I cast the Masticore if I play it? So 1, 2, I think I can actually. So 1, 2, 3 to get back the Masticore. Then I play Ranger, I untap. That's 2 mana. Replay 3, untap. Yeah, I think we just get back Masticore here. 3, okay, so play a land, fetch, play a forest, play Korean Ranger, float 2, untap, float 2 more, play Masticore, and we can swing for 5 here. That was a really good Skeletal Scrying for my opponent, I think, but I do think that we're probably still ahead here. I could have played out the second Korean Ranger. I don't think that really does anything for me though, because if my opponent does have their Engineered Plague, then that's gonna get me anyway. Hardcast Exalted Angel. Yeah, that's fine. Reflecting Pool. Okay, so what are we getting back with Genesis here? Maybe a Symbiote this time around. We're going to pitch this Squee to Genesis, then get a Symbiote back. So this Masticore has a clean attack into the Exalted Angel. Oh, I can just lethal him, right? I can just present lethal here. So let's assume worst case scenario, which is my opponent has Swords to Plowshares. So let's play Llanowar Elf. Let's play Symbiote. If I swing with everything, because this is a triggered ability, right? So I think I want to swing with all of these. I think I want to swing with everything besides Symbiote. So what this does is, if my opponent blocks one of the 1/1s, we still have lethal. And it also means that I can just finish off. This is Exalted Angel, and also regen the Masticore. So as is, we have a forced block. This also allows me to play around Swords to Plowshares because I can just untap this twice. Okay, so I'm going to untap Priest of Titania by bouncing a forest. Now I'm going to pay 2, I'm going to pay 4, and I'm going to regenerate Masticore. And then I'm going to use the other 2 mana to deal 1 point of damage to this Exalted Angel. And go to damage. Opponent gains 4, but I have my Masticore alive and well, and we're still cooking. Do I want to bounce one of my creatures back is the question now. I think I want to bounce one of these. So I'm going to protect Korean Ranger. Oh, I should have untapped the Priest. That was actually a misclick. Okay, never mind. So my Priest should be untapped right now. It was just a misclick on my part. Opponent does have the deed. Okay, so I guess that my opponent needs to go into my turn. If they activate this right now, they are probably going to lose. They need to go until my turn so that they can, I can just use Masticore. First of all, so I have to pay my Masticore upkeep, and also so if I regenerate the Masticore, they don't take 4. Yeah, so they pop immediately, which is a mistake. So now I can choose to bounce Priest. So I'm going to untap Priest by bouncing a land. Now I get to regen Masticore. Regenerate Masticore. And now I get to untap Llanowar Elves by bouncing Priest. And I guess I get to put another regeneration shield on the Masticore for good measure. And now Pernicious Deed is going to resolve. And now we untap. We're going to make sure that Masticore trigger go first. We obviously are not going to be able to activate Genesis, and we're going to have to discard Squee to our Masticore. Now play my land, and I can bring my opponent down to 1. I don't have lethal, so play Priest, play Korean Ranger. No, I only have 4 mana. I think I'm just gonna serve with the Masticor here. Is there a reason to attack with the Priest too? I don't think so. I guess I could have brought my opponent down to 1, which would have made maybe their mana situation a little bit more awkward. Because I could attack with both the Priest and the Ranger, bring my opponent down to 1, and then... Yeah, maybe I should have just played my dudes and just attack. Just a matter of choosing what I want to play around, right? Engineered Plague. Okay, so now I feel smart. So I'm gonna pay the mana there, and now I can put a Regeneration Shield on this Masticor. So this means that Sorcery Speed removal doesn't stop me, aka Vindicate. Also just realized that my opponent's playing Plague Spitter in their deck, right? That's definitely a card that I could have played around. Oh, Duress. The turn 9 Duress into the creature deck, brutal. Okay, so Masticor goes up last, then Genesis is gonna target Symbiote. So Squeak comes back. Yeah, I definitely should have just played my creatures and attacked last turn. My opponent would be at 1, and yeah, this random Symbiote would be lethal. So I'll swing with this. Have a force block on the Masticor. Honestly, there's an argument for just for not even getting back the Symbiote there, for just like not even activating Genesis and just holding up Masticor regeneration. So that may have been a mistake, because now I enabled my opponent's Vindicates, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can still like do this over the course of 2 turns. Like I spend 1 turn to get back my to Genesis back the Masticor, then following turn I just play it out and just do the same thing once again, right? But Cabal Therapy. Okay, my opponent knows about the Korean Ranger here, so... Oh, did my opponent know? Oh, yeah, they knew from the Duress. Never mind, yeah, that's correct. So my opponent can now fetch and flashback the Call of the Herd. They're 1 mana short. So, like, once again, like, not playing out my creatures, punishing me. So now this is pretty funny, because I'm in a situation where I'm going to spend this turn to just mask... Oh, I can just... Do I have any one-drop creature that I can play? Like, do I have a second Wirewood Symbiote? I don't. So all of my dudes would die. Oh, I just get back Squee and I play Squee for lethal. That's hilarious. Oh, that's really funny. We just don't pay for Genesis and just okay, this is I was gonna say this is more fun, but that's actually not right. This is way more fun. I could suck a Symbiote to like go get the Range Hermit, or I can just play a 1/1 Hasty against my opponent. Okay, I regret everything that I said earlier. Missing that point of damage early was great because it allowed me to get into this situation. Ah, that was great. That was awesome. Alright, see you for the last round. Okay, last game. Is this a turn 2 natural order? So turn 1, we play Finhorn Elves. Turn 2, we have 2 mana, we play Korean Ranger. We float a mana, we untap, we replay Finhorn Elves. We play Korean Ranger. We want to... Oh, it's only 3 mana, I guess. I'm still keeping this. Turn 3 natural order on the play. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm keeping this. We also have a Wall of Roach, which is low-key has been a banger in the deck, honestly. Let's go. Turn 1 Elf. Let's see what we're up against. Basic Swamp Duress. Okay, well there goes my natural order. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. That's not a bad one, though. Most certainly not a bad one. So float a mana, untap, bounce Forest. Replay the Forest. We're going to have 3 mana here. I think I want to play Wall and Finhorn Elves. And I don't think that I care about using the Wall of Roots here. I could alternatively just play out the Multani Acolyte, but if I do that, then I can't play the Range Hermit next turn. Okay. So I guess that Ranger is just free to play, which is nice. So pay 1, float 1. It's 2 mana. We're gonna untap here. So if I play out the Range Hermit, I guess that I'm gonna be able to pay for upkeep. So I think I want to do that. The question now is, do I want to play a second Korean Ranger? Or would I rather save it? I think I'd actually rather save this for... I think I'd rather save the Korean Ranger in case I draw survival. So get in there with Korean Ranger, and now we are hanging out here. That's a swamp. So my opponent main decking something like Infest. Because if that's the case, like we're probably just losing to that, but... Drain life 4x equals 1. Okay, that's funny. But that's probably like the right play for my opponent there. Definitely looks awkward, but... Alright, 2 mana, play Acolyte, we're gonna see what we draw. It's not a survival, unfortunately, but it's okay, so we're gonna... actually, I think I'd rather save this Wooded Foothills. I'm just gonna save the Wooded Foothills to find a mountain. So we can swing for 5, 6 here. So that is 6 this turn, then next turn we're gonna swing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm trying to figure out whether it's worth it for me to play out this Llanowar Elf or this Korean Ranger just so I can speed up my clock a little bit. I'm assuming that I'm playing against a mono black control deck. That's why we saw the drain life there. So I think I'm going to not overextend into a potential sweeper, which could be Mutilate or something like that. So I'm just going to swing for 6 here, then for 9 next turn. I'm just going to do that. I could have, you know, like play the, basically pay the mana with the Wall of Roots, but my opponent kind of has to Mutilate here if they do have it. And I'm just going to fetch for the mountain just so we have access to it here. Untap. We're definitely going to pay for Echo with the Wall of Roots mana. Survival? No. No survival. Play the Gaia's Cradle. And we're just going to get in that red zone. So opponent out of 5. Let's see if they can stop me. So far they have not been doing too much. We'll see if they're able to stabilize here with a Corrupt or something. Thrashing Wumpus. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Yep, that'll do. So there goes everything. I think I'm gonna play this Llanowar Elf and pass the turn. So by playing the Llanowar Elf, if my opponent wants to activate Wumpus again, that's gonna actually ping them. Soul Feast. Okay, that'll mean that they're in the clear now. My opponent should have attacked. Like, they actually need to kill me here, right? Because I am 1 survival away from just like turning this around immediately. So I think that they should have attacked with the Thrashing Wumpus. Unless they're trying to like 1-hit KO me, which I don't think necessarily matters. Soul Feast. Sure. So this Soul Feast card I'm not too into, I don't think. I feel like they should have Corrupt or something like that. Survival. Nope. Okay. Well, ship the turn back. Not playing out the Korean Ranger because, well, I need something to get survival going if I do draw it. Okay, so my opponent uses Cabal Therapy, and now we have a forced jump. Oh, no, we're actually dead to the Wumpus. So my opponent just activates this 4 times holding priority, and I die. Alright, that was kind of brutal. Definitely took a really long time to get going there, unfortunately. I do think Natural Order is probably great. I do like Genesis. Do I care about Nishova is the question. Because I'm going to be fetching for Verdant Force every time. But maybe Nishova is just fine. Color of the Claw looks fantastic. So maybe cut 1 Acolyte. Cut 1 Fidhorn. Masticore, maybe decent. Do like Vigilante. I do like Druid Lyrist. I'm not sure whether my opponent's playing Arena or not, because if they're playing Arena, I'm definitely interested in Naturalizes. Maybe I should be playing Naturalizes anyway, because I should expect my opponent to be playing a bunch of Engineered Plagues. I definitely want Anger, definitely want the Walls. Just cut another Llanowar Elf, and maybe a Korean Ranger. And maybe the Range Hermit? Or Kamal. Do I prefer Kamal or Phantom Nishova? I think I prefer Phantom Nishova. That may be wrong. Alright, we're on the play here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this hand. It's not super great or anything, but we have an early elf, we have stuff to do, we also have a Cradle, which is a pretty important pickup, and we have probably our best card, which is Natural Order. So my opponent on the 61 card special. Findhorn Elves, go. Man, that Thrashing Wumpus just soloed me. As you would expect, for what it's worth. Okay, that's another Forest. So let's play Acolyte here. Oh, super punished. Oh my god, I just missequenced that. I should have paid with the Findhorn Elves. I was thinking, oh, there's nothing I would draw that I would change this, that would let me play the Cradle, except I drew exactly the card I should have been thinking about. Whenever it does damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Okay. Wall of Souls. So we're gonna pay here, and I think I just play out a land and say go. I'm gonna swing though. I feel like at me attacking, like the 1 point is good to trade for the 2 points here. Second range Hermit was obviously not a great draw, but I am kind of expecting my opponent to just engineer plague me here, so no need to throw the Priest of Titania into that, right? Or Crypt Rats. That's probably much worse. Alright, so this means that this deranged Hermit's not gonna be too hot, unfortunately. Can I find a survival? How about another Priest of Titania? Ugh. Do I just pass a turn here? I think I just passed a turn. That Crypt Rats was kind of a beating. I could have played the deranged Hermit, but then my opponent just like taps one with the rats and they just obliterate my board. So my best draw here would indeed be just Natural Order. I guess maybe Survival is better than Natural Order, because Survival just is kind of an unstoppable engine for my opponent's mono black deck. Okay. Cabal Coffers is not super threatening. Natural Order. Color of the Claw. Okay, now that is interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna play Priest now and pass the turn. And now maybe this incentivizes my opponent to activate the Crypt Rats. And then I can just play the color. Okay, so float a mana. This is gonna clear everything. And then we play color. Send the turn back. So we have a bunch of 2/2s now. We're slightly behind in the race, but my opponent played a Cabal Coffers last turn, which suggests to me that they don't have another land. And then my opponent has the Spoil. Didn't even know that card existed. I wonder why they're playing this instead of... I think there's a 3-mana version of this, isn't it? It just does exactly the same thing. And I'm definitely playing out the Priest here, because I need the mana, and... like, this is fine. Like, we swing for 6, and then we take 2. It's a probably fine exchange. My opponent needs to draw some lands, and I need to dodge a sweeper. Definitely need to dodge a sweeper here. Another Crypt Rats. This is kind of okay, though. Kind of risky if my opponent to just let me untap with the Priest. Yeah, I mean, that's why. Now I just do this. Natural Order, sacking the Priest. And I just go get Verdant Force. And I still swing. They're gonna get to kill one more of my creatures, but I don't think that matters. And I don't think my opponent can just take it, because now that really limits what their Crypt Rats can do. So my opponent's gonna go to 1 now. Unless they have Diabolic Edict as well. So if they have Edict, they can just activate Crypt Rats twice. And that would get me. I can't attack with the Verdant Force because the Wall of Souls is gonna get me. They're gonna get to Time Walk me for 1 turn. Because they can just activate Crypt Rats X = 2 on my turn. And I can't attack with Verdant Force, because I lose. So, kind of an interesting match. It's been made interesting, by the way, only because my opponent has been missing land drops. If my opponent had been like hitting their land drops, normally I feel like we would just be super dead, but... Alright, here we go. So my opponent activates Crypt Rats for 2. And do they have the Edict? Maybe Dark Ritual. Okay, that's 4. That's scary. That's very scary. Okay. Drain life, face, X = 2. Okay, so that buys my opponent actually a significant amount of turns, because I can't really do anything now, right? I can't attack with Verdant Force, and these Saprolinks also can't get in there just yet either. So that was definitely a good play for my opponent. This Wall of Souls is kind of destroying me. Another Dark Ritual, and if this is another Drain Life, I'm just dead. Imagine if these Dark Rituals were just normal lands, right? Imagine if all those like stupid Dark Rituals dead in my opponent's hands were just swamps. That's why I really dislike Dark Ritual in that kind of deck, but you know, it didn't really matter. I don't think there was too much I could have done there. I feel like if I had found a survival in time, maybe we would have a shot, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Okay, so 4-1, not bad at all, actually. In fact, I am very, very impressed by this deck. And again, like I feel like I'm playing this deck at 40, maybe 45% of its actual potential, and I'm just giving up a ton of percentage points by just like not really being super aware about the true potential of the deck, and like not being super familiar with how to mulligan, not being super familiar with you know, how to maximize your mana, how to maximize your survival lines, and yet still we were able to come back from pretty bad spots, which really shows the raw power that this deck is capable of. I do think that natural orders are kind of insane. So I'm a big fan of natural order. I'm definitely going to be building a version with natural order in paper. I feel like it really shores up matchups that would otherwise be pretty problematic. Like we played against the Junk deck, and Natural Order proved to be really, really good. Just like Verdant Force is kind of an insane banger in that kind of matchup. So it really proved is worth. In fact, if I think if I had access to Nishoba in my deck, like we got pretty unlucky that I just naturally drew the Nishoba. But if I had found Nishoba in that last game that we played, I feel like we would have been able to just race my opponent straight up, which is kind of something that the deck would not really be able to do otherwise. So that's pretty cool. Cards that I did like the Wall of Roots Natural Order package felt insane, as I'm saying. The Verdant Force also really proved its worth. Maybe we don't need the second Deranged Hermit. I do like having access to 2 Hermits, but this is mostly like in situations where I'm cutting the Natural Orders. When I'm cutting this package, all of a sudden Hermit becomes a lot more important as a win condition. But realistically, Survival is just the best card in the deck, and like this is the engine that we want to put together. So I think that there's still some stuff to tinker with. I was not a big fan of the color of the Claw in the main deck. This is a fine cyber card. I honestly don't even think it's that good of a cyber card, to be honest. It has proved to do some work in a couple of very narrow situations, but even against something like the Rock, it just kind of gets swept by Pernicious Deed anyway. So I'm not sure if this is great. I definitely want just the 1 copy. I wouldn't play a second copy in the cyber or anything like that. But the question remains as to whether I want to be doing some Tangle Wire stuff. Like Tangle Wire really proved to be really good in the mono blue in the Dreadnought matchup. So maybe that in and of itself is enough to just have it in the sideboard. But I'm not too sure that I would want multiple copies in the main deck. Maybe like 1 or 2, but just as a 1 or 2 off, it feels kind of awkward. I don't know. It feels like there's a lot to tinker with, but like the difference between 17 lands and 18 lands was remarkable. Like the amount of hands that I was able to keep, it was just dramatically higher. When I tried the 17 land build, I was just mulliganing into like 6, 4, 5 very, very consistently. And just by adding 1 extra land, which is, just basic force, which you definitely very, very much need, it really made things a lot smoother on the mana situation. And it allowed me to keep a much larger range of hands. But yeah, deck's very, very good. Very, very impressive. It can do some pretty busted things. And for me, without any experience at all, to just like win 4 matches and then, sure, get absolutely demolished in what looked like a nightmare situation, like a nightmare matchup, unless we draw specifically Survival. And we can't have Survival in the opener, right? Like my opponent opened with turn 1 Duress both times, so we can't have Survival in the opener, so we need to draw it in the first couple of turns or something. So that's a pretty very specific subset of things that need to fall together, to fall into place. So yeah, that definitely felt like maybe not the best matchup, the mono black control one. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely continue tinkering with this deck. I am pretty hooked, and I think that it's gonna be a lot of fun to try to explore and try to tune. This is kind of what I really enjoy doing in Premodern, which is like finding a shell and then just like tuning it. And usually I'm not the one originating the ideas. Usually I'm the one that just like grabs other ideas and just improves on them. So this deck feels like it's a great project for me in the format. So that's gonna be what I'm gonna be working on for sure in the near future. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the way out, and I'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care, long live Premodern, and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.